welcome back to our second episode here at the Men's Club. It's good to be back with you. It's good to have another opportunity to come out. We appreciate all the comments that we got from our first episode. We appreciate all the subscribers and the views, and we hope you continue to do that. Like we said, continue to comment to us, good or bad. We're learning this new thing that we're doing, and we hope that everyone is joining along with us and having a good time with it. Once again, we'll do our introductions. Of course, I'm Pops.
I'm RD, and welcome back. I can't believe it's already been a whole week, and it's been a very productive week, and we love the comments, love the views, and it's gotten really good.
I'm TJ, and it's been a fast week. I don't think any of us expected it to fly by this quickly. The feedback has been fantastic, and we just thank y'all so much for engaging with us.
I'm Jordan. I just want to say thank y'all for all y'all support. We really do appreciate it. We've gone through all the comments. We have been checking it daily, even though it doesn't feel like it's been 7 days.
No, well, so several times daily.
Yes.
RD stays over there just scrolling like,
I need to feed on the comments.
I seek validation.
Please love me.
I love views. View me.
All right. Well, I think we decided that Pops was going to start it this time.
Okay. Well, this week's show, it's a little bit different than what we've done the last week. We've got some new things, and on this one, I want to discuss some things that have kind of come up here lately, and it's some things I've been thinking about. And it's 4 skills that every man should know and should be able to master. Of course, when you say master something, that's a pretty broad term in itself. But it's because to truly master anything, I feel like that it's almost impossible to completely be a master of something.
Even technically an expert is putting 10,000 hours into something, and I still don't even think that they would be considered masters of something.
Right. I mean, it's something that you continue to do, you continue to get better with.
You may sit on this council, but we do not grant you the title of master.
But and here's the thing, and this is what I want us to look at, because this is something that I've thought about a lot over the past couple of years, especially the last couple of weeks, and it's the role of a man, and there's certain skills that I feel like that we should have as men, and that we should be able to display and use on a regular basis. And to do that, number one, you have to be aware of them. You don't know what you don't know. And so it's important that we do that. But I read an article, and it's what kind of, I guess, prompted this whole thing, is I read an article in the National Review, and it's been several years ago. The article was written by David French, excuse me. And the title of it was "Men Are Getting Weaker. Young American Males Are Losing Touch with the Critical Element of True Masculinity." Now, I know I said masculinity. Sometimes that's a bad word
for
a lot of people, but it's still a thing. It's still a word. And in that article, that they cited a couple things that even the Washington Post had to say, and they did a study on college-age males using grip strength as the test. And the average male in 1985 had a grip strength of 117 pounds of force. The average male in 2016 had a 98 pounds of force in their grip.
Grip it with your purse there, Johnny.
But that you make a comment like that, but it's something that it's happening everywhere. Yeah. It's something that that we're seeing more of.
We're talking like worldwide then.
Yeah. And also they did a study of kids, and they had them run a mile. And as they ran the mile, they found that kids today are taking 90 seconds longer to run a mile than they did 30 years ago. So it's starting at an early age.
It's all them chicken nuggies.
Well, just to touch on this while we're in the middle of it, we saw a lot of it while we were coaching football.
Yeah.
I mean, you always said, oh, well, we're worried about this next group. We're worried about this next group. And, part of it was we were used to one group. But a lot of it also had to do with the fact that we were actually seeing these kids progress, and they were weaker than what we had seen come through beforehand. So, I mean, you can see it just in small quantities like that.
Right. I mean, you really can. And so the question is, when you look at these studies, you read these articles, the question is you've got to ask yourself is, what is this decline doing to man today? Because I mean, that's what we're focused on with this podcast is today's man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what's it really doing? What is the decline? How is it affecting man today? And you start looking on the internet, you start looking at things, and you start seeing things like depression, you start seeing things like suicide, poor health in itself, and you're seeing that they're more prevalent in man today than they ever were before. And you got to ask yourself, what is causing that? Words like we said, masculinity, manhood, alpha male, warrior. These are words that have become negative.
Right.
You that people shy away from you when you say the word warrior, and and in reality, that should be a badge of honor in itself. When you tell somebody he's a warrior, it means he's tough. It means he's disciplined. That means he'll go the extra mile to help someone. And in all honesty, and this was touched on in that article that I mentioned, they use this word called victimhood culture. And when you really stop and look at what that is, it's allowing us to raise and develop weaker males. As parents, it's allowing us to allow our kids to be weaker. As young men, it's giving us an excuse to say, well, it's just that time. It's that time of our generation and our world where it's okay to do that. But in reality, it's not okay, because it starts a spiral. It starts something that can be very negative in itself. So with all that being said, of course, I sat down and I thought of the skill sets that today's man needs to know and to master. And I wanted to look at 4 of them. I have more than that. I've got, y'all know me. I've got a lot
so
of.
You wrote a book on it.
I've got an opinion on that, but I feel that these are the 4 that are kind of like the intro set into this. If you had to pick 4 that you should really focus on first to help develop yourself, it would be these 4, and that's what I want us to look at real quickly. And I've got them wrote down that way so I don't forget where I'm at. I am the old guy here, so I kind of wander from time to time. But
I think they call that Alzheimer's.
Well, I don't know what they call it. Old age, I guess.
Alzheimer's, old time.
Anyway, y'all whippersnappers going to hush now and listen to Grandpa? What?
We have to.
All right, anyway, number 1, physical strength. Now, it's so important to be physically strong. You're more capable as a man. You're more capable of doing things as a man than you would be if you was weaker. And the fact is that protection, defense, just having a life of enjoyment, it makes a difference in itself.
Well, and just touching on that, you don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to be a power lifter.
No, I mean that's not anything about it.
It's just it's a sturdiness.
Got that farm boy strength.
Well, I mean, and you'll have more energy. You'll have more stamina. You'll be more in tune to your environment. In other words, you'll be more situational aware around yourself. You'll be in the moment more.
Strong-minded.
You'll be strong. Yeah, that's a good one. Strong-minded.
Yeah.
And it will change your mood. It'll change your outlook. It'll change your attitude on life in itself.
Well, that's something I kind of wanted to touch on a second ago, was like talking about strong, even mentally strong. Like you look at a lot of the depression that I see even in younger males is that they feel like they can't step up and help somebody that they see is being done wrong, or even stand up for themselves in some cases,
Well, and beyond all just the actual attributes you get from it, from just being physically strong, there's a certain air of confidence that you get from it also. I've been the guy, I've been the power lifter, I've been the mild bodybuilder. You walk around differently when you're that big.
Yeah, me too.
I think you've seen 180 pounds.
But then when you start looking at that, it goes back to what I was talking about with the excuses that we make. One of the excuses that y'all haven't experienced yet, but I experienced, and I'll be perfectly honest. I've made this same excuse myself from time to time. Well, I'm just getting too old. I'm getting too old to do this. Well, that's an excuse in itself. That's not true, because age doesn't limit your ability to make your body strong. You know, sure, you're not going to go out and you're not going to bench press 400 pounds. You're not going to go out and squat 550 and all those things that you may have done when you were younger. But you can still do body weight exercises. You can still get out and take a hike, take a bike ride, do something to help strengthen your body, because not only are all the health benefits that we've talked about, there's a longevity to your life when you do those kind of things. So, I mean, age should not be your limit. You know, you shouldn't sit back and say, well, I'm this age now, so I'm not going to try to better myself as far as strength goes. And, you know, and one of the biggest things that I see, and I've seen it for years of being in gyms all over the place and coaching, you know, guys in football and stuff, your strength is not comparable to other men.
No, everyone's different. Everyone's always going to be different. You know, I used to work out with a guy, and you did too. It killed me. We'd go in, I could throw up 325, and he'd go, all right, let me warm up with that.
Yeah. But that's what we get into. We get into such a competitive nature of it, and that, well, I'm not as strong as so-and-so, so I'm not going to lift anymore. Well, you're not comparing yourself to other men. You're comparing yourself to yourself.
We're all different.
In other words, are you better today than you were yesterday?
Exactly.
That's the attitude, and that's the mentality that you've got to have. And that's a skill set in itself, is that my mentality is that I'm going to get stronger each and every day. And it's important we do that. Number 2. Y'all still listening?
Number 2.
Barely.
All right.
Start to drown.
Communication. How we speak to each other, how we speak to a stranger, how we speak to family, how we speak to friends. It's important. And there's 4 types of communicators out there. And I want to look at those 4 types and how the world looks at them. So we all know these guys that I'm going to talk about. We've all had an example of it, and I'm sure you watching on the podcast here knows this type of guy and the other types that I'm going to use. The first type is the
You
loud.
looked at me there for a second.
We all know someone.
Well, I mean, you know, that's the thing. Everyone's been out of the house at least 5 minutes, knows these people.
Yeah.
Well, the first guy that I want us to look at is the loud guy.
Oh.
Now, the loud guy, he's a jerk. He's an a-hole.
Yeah.
Usually has initials.
Wait.
Sometimes he's a bully. You know, he's arrogant and he's boastful. And more importantly, he's aggressive.
Yeah.
In the way that he talks to people. He's a guy that nobody wants around. He's a guy that, you know, you see, you maybe you're in the grocery store or you're out in town somewhere and you see him out there and you go the other direction and keep having to talk to him. He might get his point across. You know, here's the thing. When you start looking at it in maybe like an office setting or a leadership role of some sort, he may get his point across. But he will cause more problems than he'll solve.
Yeah.
Well, he's always looking for a fight. You know, it's one of those.
You know, and his opinion is his way or the highway. You know, he's right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
If you say he's wrong, then you're attacking him.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's what I mean by the fact is that, you know, he'll cause more problems than he'll actually ever solve, and his results will be short term. In other words, it'll work for a little while. He'll intimidate so many people that they'll follow him. He'll bully so many that they'll stay behind him. But sooner or later, people will figure him out. Sooner or later, people will figure out that they don't like him, and they'll just stop listening.
He's a beta male walking around posing as an alpha.
Well, not only that though, but you do also see, even when we talk about alpha males, there are alpha males out there that are that way.
Yeah.
Well, I compare it to like a barking dog. You know, you've got the big barking dog, and they're just all the time loud, blah 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 blah. Just, you know, I'm here. Notice me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean,
he's looking for a lot of validation.
Yeah.
and he finds it in his speech.
Yeah.
And you know, he feels like if someone's afraid of me, then they'll respect me.
Exactly.
And that's not necessarily the truth. That's not necessarily the way that it is.
9 times out of 10, that's what it is he has confused respect with fear.
Yeah, and he really has. And you know, and that's unfortunately we see a lot of that today. And here's the problem with that. That is what the world looks at as the stereotypical masculine man, the stereotypical alpha male. That's what they see, and that is completely different from what a true warrior, what a true alpha male is, and that that's kind of where we are today.
Is that toxic masculinity
Yeah.
everybody's talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean,
that's the truth.
That is a good definition of it.
If you're going to put a real term to it that's used inside PC culture today, yeah, that would be the one I would use.
Yeah.
Because that truly is the definition of what not to be.
Exactly.
The next guy, and y'all know this guy too.
Now, he looked at Jordan, so I'm guessing that's Jordan.
no, he just crossed the table from me. The whisper guy. He's passive. He's the guy who never speaks up. He refuses to cause a scene, to make any kind of an assertive step towards anything. And a lot of times he's referred to as the nice guy.
Yeah, well, this guy to me is right the opposite of the loud guy.
Oh, he is. He is.
He's the polar opposite. He never wants attention drawn to him. He is maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not very confident in himself.
Real shy.
Well,
Yeah.
not just real shy, but he doesn't want to be the center of attention.
Well, he's the guy I was talking about earlier. He's the guy that if something were to happen later on, he'd be with his friends like, I wish I could have stepped in and
Yeah,
helped, but I didn't.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly right. I mean, that's
Shoulda,
what you
coulda,
said.
woulda guy.
Yeah, but he's the guy that gets pushed aside.
Yeah.
Even when he shares his opinion, no one cares.
Yeah.
No one listens to him. He's a people pleaser. He's that let's all get along guy.
Yeah.
Let's all get along. Let's all be friends. And and here is the reality of that statement there. And I'm getting off on another podcast, I think, but
Tune in next week.
that let's get along. Let's all get along. That's not possible. You're always going to have some kind of a friction. You're always going to have some kind of a oil and water situation when you have a group of people together. And there's nothing wrong with different. That's the thing that, a lot of times we talk about, we need to embrace each other as being the same. The reality is we need to embrace the fact that we're different. We need to recognize that. And, this whisper guy, he wants everything. Let's all be friends. Let's all get along. Let's all act the same. But here's the problem with that. The results is he becomes the forgettable guy.
Yeah.
And which leads to him missing chances in life.
Yeah.
He may be the smartest man in the room. But if he don't speak up, if he don't
Nobody
tell
ever
people
know it.
what he knows, they'll never know it. And he'll miss that opportunity to get a promotion. He'll miss that opportunity to advance himself in life because the simple reason was he didn't know how to communicate his thoughts. He didn't have his thoughts to be able to put them into words.
Or to really make the world better. This guy normally wants to help people, but he just can't get it out.
Right.
Well, not just that, just talking about the opportunities this guy misses in life. This is a bad metric, I guess, to put it against. This is the guy that never gets the girl.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
They get put in the friend zone.
Yeah, well, they miss these opportunities that to most guys are clear in their face.
Right.
I mean, you see these guys all the time. Oh, why can't I talk to her? Why can't I do this? Well, it's you.
Yeah.
You have decided that you don't want to be the center of attention, so you have taken yourself completely out of the conversation.
It's not me, it's you.
Well, when you take it to the extreme with the internet, this can lead, through his own faults and not fix them, this can lead to turning that guy on the internet into the first guy, right?
Yeah, well, it can. I mean,
Yeah.
it really can. Third guy. The funny guy. No,
I don't know who that
is
one was
this-
directed at.
Is this the funny guy or just the guy that thinks he's funny?
No, this is the funny guy.
No.
Now, I'm not saying it's not okay to joke around. It's not. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying it's not okay to joke around. But this is a different type of funny guy.
Oh, okay.
He's the guy who looks like the nice guy. He has that look about him because he's gotten good at hiding his aggressive nature. He's gotten good at playing a role because he knows he shouldn't be a jerk.
Yep.
He knows that. He knows in society I shouldn't do that, but there's something else inside of him working the same way. I watched a video of Matthew McConaughey talking about there's two types of wolves inside of us. There's the good wolf and the bad wolf, and you have to determine which one you feed.
Right.
Well, this guy here, he feeds both of them. he's on equal with
He
them.
handing out steaks.
You know, so his speech he uses it for a distraction. So he'll use a distraction like humor. He'll use a distraction like sarcasm. Why does he do it? To soften his comment.
Oh.
You know, you've heard of people talk about that backhanded compliment that I got. You know, bless their hearts. You know.
Oh yeah.
You're so pretty for a blonde.
Well, exactly. That's the type of thing. You know,
Kind
bless
of
it.
cute, but you're
you know.
kind of ugly too.
Exactly.
You know, in the South, bless his heart, he's so stupid.
Right.
You know, you can. There's a general theory in the South that you can say anything you want to as long as you start it with "bless his heart."
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And you know,
Sounds good.
it sounds good,
Yeah, sounds
but at the end of the day, you're still just insulting someone.
Yeah. You'd be sitting later like, wait.
And here's the problem with the funny guy. The funny guy will gather a following.
Yeah.
The funny guy will get people to notice him. The problem is eventually he just starts coming off as manipulative. He starts coming off as controlling. People will stop trusting him because here's the other thing, and I didn't say this at first. Most of the time, the funny guy, he's a liar.
That's true.
He's going to tell a tale. He's going to tell a story, and it's always going to be a little bit more fabricated than the actual real life events that took place.
Well, and probably a little better than your story. Too,
Yeah,
right?
and he's the one upper guy.
Yeah.
I caught a fish this big. Well, he'll come back. Well, I caught a fish this big.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Exactly.
So so people stop trusting him. They won't trust his word. They won't trust his actions. They'll stop listening to him, and because they know that more than likely there's an insult coming before it's over with.
Well, and all three of these guys, there's some sort of insecurity they're hiding.
Yeah,
That's what
most
I was looking
definitely.
for earlier, by the way.
Well, and all three of these guys too. When you think about it, like I smiled when you said funny guy. The initial trait isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? But it's how they implement it.
How they use it.
Exactly.
How they use it.
Well, it's good to be humorous. You draw people to you being humorous, but you use humor as the introduction, and then what I'm assuming is the fourth guy, which is going to end up being the good guy.
Well,
It's like an anecdote.
okay. Here's the fourth guy. He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
No.
He's the one that when he speaks, you listen.
Yeah.
He's assertive. He's confident. This is the one that knows what he wants, and he can tell people how he wants it.
No, and he stands on principle.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. His principle is not. It's not just that he stands on his principle. He stands on his morals.
Yeah.
He believes what he believes, but he's not worried about what other people think of him. And it's not because he's arrogant. It's not because he thinks he's always right. The fact is that he doesn't let people's opinion mold and shape who he is.
Yeah. He's going to be him.
He's going to be him no matter what.
Yeah.
That's the most important as a communicator that you can have, is that when people see you, you're consistent.
Well, and that's the thing with it. Just what we're talking about there, as far as morals go, everyone has their own, period.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what the morals are. What you want to be is someone who stands on their own morals.
Right. And that goes in a disagreement. It's okay to disagree, but be what you're about.
Well, see, that's my next
Don't
that's
cave.
my next point there. He can have a conversation with someone with a different opinion than his own, and not get emotional about it.
Yeah.
And I hate to harp on this. I hate to talk about this, but emotional men is a plague in this world today.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You shouldn't get mad because I say I have a different opinion than you do.
Well, not necessarily emotional, but over emotional. When
Yeah,
you start
well,
letting your
over-emotional.
emotions run your.
But I mean, they get to the point to where you've seen the videos, you've seen the news stories and stuff of these clashes between two different political parties or social parties or whatever you want to call it, and it's because of the fact is that these two individuals that are in such a clash with each other, they let their emotions take over the conversation.
Yep.
Then it gets personal.
Then it
personal.
becomes personal,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, that if you want to keep it on
Politicians.
a level to where you can discuss something where you can have a conversation about something, then your emotions can't be part of it.
Well, you know, and that's the thing. You've got to make logical arguments. But we've gotten to the point today where everyone has decided, all right, so this is what I believe, and this is who I am. And if you don't believe what I believe, you are personally attacking me.
Yeah.
And that's just not the truth.
Well, see, that was my next point. And the fact is that the guy
Yeah.
can speak his mind, but it can also hear new ideals
Yeah.
and not feel like he's being attacked.
Well, that's something I saw the other day that I really like is let's normalize changing your opinion when you're presented with new facts, right? New good information.
Exactly.
There should be nothing wrong with having a strong, steadfast, this is what I believe about this, and then someone comes out, this is documented fact that you're wrong. And don't take it personal. Go, well, I was wrong.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with admitting that you were wrong.
Yeah.
You know, everyone runs into that every now and then.
That goes back to being strong-minded. If you can admit your faults and admit where you're wrong, I mean, hey, that's a huge step.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, that's communication, number 2. Number 3, physical presence.
Okay.
Now, that's a
Ooh,
skill.
here we go.
This is a skill that I feel like, especially in the past 20 years, has really went to the wayside.
Yeah.
You don't see it anymore. You don't see this physical presence of a male, of a man. And when I talk about that, it's the ability to present yourself in an effective way.
Mm-hmm.
What you see of me should be my representation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and it to me, a lot of this is: are you the guy in the corner at the party, or are you the guy in the middle?
Good point. Yeah.
You know, and just being who you are, regardless of who that might be, is what's most important.
Right. Because here's the thing, and here is the truth, and you hate to be this way, and you hate to have to say this, but we do, let me repeat that, we do live in a world that judges a book by its cover.
Yeah. We do. Yep.
You know, you've heard it, said how many times? You only get one chance to make a first impression.
Yeah.
Well, that's the truth. And people look at you and judge you by what they see of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way you look, what you wear, how you sit, how you stand, how you walk does matter.
Oh yeah. And you know, it's one of those things. You know, everybody knows that guy. And this is kind of the guy you want to be. He walks into a room. Someone who has never met him before can take one look at him and go, all right, this is what this guy's about.
Well, that's the point I was going to make is we're not saying this to say put on a front. We're saying this to say be face value. If you are XYZ
Right.
kind of a person,
Right.
be XYZ kind of a person.
Yeah, don't be something else. Don't play a role.
Yeah, exactly. Be
Play
you.
yourself. Be
Exactly.
you. Be the
Yeah.
best you that you can be.
Yeah. You know, because playing a role never works.
No.
You're never going
Well, sooner or later it gets found out.
yeah.
Yep.
Sooner or later you get found out that you're a fraud when you play a role. You know, shoulders back, chest out, eye contact, a proper handshake.
Mm-hmm.
They speak volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They speak volumes about who you are. And you need to be very aware of the non-verbal message you are sending out into the world.
No, Lord.
And TJ, you brought up making a front with all that, like a job interview. That's where a lot of people's acting fronts come on. Is they're like, well, I need to act this way so I can impress the boss.
Yeah, I need to be what they want me to be.
Yeah, but in reality, the boss wants to see you for who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They want to see the employee that's going to be there every day.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to see the one that they saw at the interview.
And you know, and that's the thing. You'll end up, if you go into one of those job interviews and you play a role, you'll end up either having to be this person that you're not, or you'll be found out on the first day.
Right.
You know, and then you don't fit in the team anymore.
And both of those fall right back into that male depression, you know.
It does.
It
does.
sucks.
Yeah,
you
it
know.
does.
Like, well, here comes
No.
RD in his tuxedo and his tape measure for another job interview.
The last point on that, though, and this is one that's important. A person who commands attention without saying a word gets more opportunities than those who blend in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your presence, what people see, is a tool to build a positive outcome for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean wear some crazy hat so that everyone's always looking at you. That means be the person in the room that someone wants to hear your opinion.
Exactly.
Just by the fact that they can tell by your face, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just live out loud. Again, it all falls back to be you. You know, be you, be the best you can be. Don't try to be someone you're not. Don't crave attention. Just be you.
All right, and then number 4, and I'm getting into y'all's time.
That's fine.
We got time.
Education.
Ooh.
That's a big one.
Now I heard somebody make a comment a little while ago about made to lead, not read, something like that.
I was promoted to lead, not read.
Yeah, promoted to lead, not read. Most people have an idea that after I get to age X, and everybody's X is different. I don't know all I need to know, and and that is something that we see all the time.
And for the people that don't know what that age is, that's probably about, 16, 18 years old. They got it all figured out.
Well, that's what I was going to say is every time you hit X, X moves, right?
Well, it does. Because the problem is this, with this type of thinking, that, when I get to 40, I'm going to know everything I need to know, or I get to 60, or if I get to 16, I'm going to know everything I need to know. The problem with that is the world is always changing.
Yep. And and that's what
gotta adapt.
I went to. My wife is a MSU graduate. Let's start there. I went to her graduation, and we make fun of this guy all the time, but he was 85 years old. Like, I wish I was kidding. And he was getting his 8th PhD.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's what That's what I'm
That
talking
is
about.
a guy who keeps on learning.
That's right.
That's a big thing in this life.
And we got to. Every day we should be learning something. Every day we should be striving to figure out a new skill, to master something that we didn't the day before. And here's the problem with it today. We live in a time and an era in this world where knowledge is easily accessible.
We have the world at our fingertips. 2 thumbs, man.
Yep. And that can also be a problem.
Well, with saying that, we also live in this world where this new catchphrase has started, fake news.
That's true.
And because of fake news, it's more important than ever before for a man to stand up and say, you know what? I'm not going to believe add whatever 4-letter, 3-letter news broadcast you want to add here. I'm not going to believe what they say or what they tell me until I look it up myself. Until I know for sure, till I read the comment or till I read the statement. I'm not going to believe it. And by doing that, you educate yourself on world affairs, politics. You educate yourself on financial things just by reading what the garbage outlets are putting out.
Well, I want to correct myself real quick. I noticed I said 8th PhD. He was getting his 8th degree. But regardless, he was an old man in college, still continuing his education. And, there's a YouTuber that I watch, Donut Operator. If y'all haven't ever checked him out, one of his big things is he's not going to spoon feed information to you.
Right.
He's like, go look it up yourself.
Yeah,
We should want to look it up. We should want to find out about those things.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna close, and I've got 2 quotes for y'all to think about, and y'all can think about them too.
Yeah.
The first one comes from Victor Hugo. More powerful more powerful than all the armies of the world is an ideal whose time has come. No more is there a time that's come that men need to start learning manly, masculine, warrior skill sets than now. In the world that we live in. And then the last one, it comes from a Greek philosopher. I didn't write down his name because I can't say it. so y'all can
There's
look,
admitting the fault right there.
Listen, y'all can Google this and find out what his name is.
It's
You
going to
can
be
learn
like
something.
a very long
You
name.
can learn something tonight. You don't rise to your expectations. You fall to the level of your training.
Yeah.
Other words, paraphrased, made simple. All of us have had that thing where I know what I'd do if it happened to me. Time. Anybody that knows me would tell you I make it a point that I don't say that.
Yeah.
Because I've learned the hard way. I'm not in that person's shoes. But we've all had that, well, I'd do this or I'd do that. Well, if something happens, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
If you ain't trained in that to do it, you're not going to do it.
Well, I mean, and
You'll
here's
look
the
like a
thing.
deer in the headlights when the time comes.
Oh yeah, and just like you said, you're not in this person's shoes, and if you never have been, you can't say I know what I do. All you can really say is if you have been there, I know what I did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the only time you should really be giving someone advice on certain things.
Yeah.
Is when you have been there.
That's right.
Well, here's a TJ quote, and this one's free. I've said for a long time, if you're not learning till the minute you die, you've wasted time.
That's true.
And talking on learning, RD, I think you actually told us we had some viewers that learned some stuff from our last podcast.
Absolutely. Actually, she was actually our first comment on the last week's episode, and I reached out to her. Her name's Lindsay McCrae. She's from Warren, Arkansas. And it was in reference to your topic with concealed carry. And it's important to defend yourself. And she told me that she had an incident at at a gas station, and she actually had to pull out a weapon and defend herself. And she went in depth on that, and I was like, you know what, this is great. I'm glad we're getting the positive feedback from this, and I'm glad that people are actually listening to the topics and actually have
People actually hearing us.
Care what we got.
I was like, wait a second, you actually watched this? But
Well, this was years ago this happened. Right?
yeah, it was a while back, and it was just great to hear somebody's story from one of our topics, and so I can reiterate and just let you guys know.
Well, not just that, it was great to hear that the topic that TJ had touched on actually touched them to a point that they went out and they got their own concealed carry insurance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that
And
makes
now they're
so much
protected.
to me.
That's what's the big deal is, that was you said her husband was the one that went and got it, correct?
Yeah.
Now that was a big opportunity for a man to step up and protect his family in some way, and he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big topics that we've touched
Right.
on.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, man. Like, we'll have our funny bits and all, but at the end of the day, I'm in this room to try and help, men across the world.
Right.
I'm a helper kind of guy, so it meant a whole lot to me to hear that feedback. So
Yeah,
that was
no.
awesome.
That's really good. Jordan, you have something
No.
for our next topic?
No,
It's on me?
I think it's still on you, bud.
Oh, it's
still
all
on
on me?
you.
All right.
Yeah, you wanted to do a dual segment here with TJ,
That's
so y'all got at the middle slot.
Yeah, we'll let you.
I'm
kinda
going to go
hit
ahead and
yours.
just kick the whole door down, and we're going to go ahead and get into this topic.
Bad transitions.
Yeah. So my topic today, I'm doing mine on a certain type of rifle, which, if you guys ever remember Gunny Arlie Ermy, I don't want to hit you with my stabby stick, but as the Gunny said, this is the ultimate bad guy gun. This gun has seen a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it
Okay,
has.
let's for the camera.
Yeah, let's put the camera.
We'll safety check that, and then we'll set it up here. Pops can kind of hold the front end. Put that right in your mouth.
Yes,
There you
Am I
go.
gonna hold that with my teeth?
But
you
this
go.
this
We'll
platform
jump on that.
rifle is the AK-47, which was made in 1947, and has seen. It was actually introduced in 1949, and it's still being used today. It's a very excellent rifle. It Mr. Mikhail Kalashnikov himself, who was a general in the Soviet Union, actually designed the rifle, and it shoots a 7.62 by 39 millimeter round. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's kind of like a 308 style casing. It's a lot bigger than your normal like AR 5.56 rounds. The barrel length is 16.3 inches long. It's 2,350 feet per second muzzle velocity.
Ballistically, it's about like a 30-30 for people in America.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
your lever action is going to be pretty much what you're shooting out of this thing.
Well, let me ask this here because I'm the newest to AKs. I really don't know just a whole lot about them, but just from what you've said before, this is actually an AKM pattern rifle.
Yes.
Is it not?
Yeah, so all AKs that you're going to be able to buy today are based off the AKM, which is basically their modernization.
Yeah.
An actual AK-47, if you find one, and there's a couple little differences in the receiver and all.
Yeah, I should have reiterated on that.
That bad guy is rare. Just quickly touching on it, original 47 was stamped. This is stamped. When they were rolling them out, they couldn't actually get enough produced, so they went to milling, and then with the M, they went back to stamping. So that's kind of why AK-47 really it's an AKM.
Yeah, and really, you said it right there at the beginning. This is the ultimate bad guy rifle.
Oh yeah.
But there is no bad guy rifle.
No.
Right.
Yes, movies and everything else use it for that, but shooting these rifles and being an AR guy to the core, I mean, these are wonderful rifles.
We all
Was a
have our
tool,
mistakes.
right?
Yeah.
So we all have our mistakes.
Well, I can't help that you fell into this communist thing before we could get you in a real rifle.
Oh, here we go. That's going to be a segment for another video.
I can't help but stare at this thing because I actually had a hand in putting this together, so that makes me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of work done on all of the rifles that have come through this shop. Honestly, if you want to set that back over there,
Oh yeah.
it ain't got to be up here this entire time.
Yeah, joking.
And my
heavy.
hand was getting hard.
And the people wondering what kind of furniture that is, that's actually an East German furniture on there.
So what is furniture?
Your stock, your handguard, your gas tube, anything that's detachable and reattachable on the rifle. Well, everything's attachable. And
Accessories.
Yes. Well, I mean,
accessories.
and that's the thing. Furniture goes far beyond just the AK platform. It's also a term in the AR platform. Your, like you said, your stock, your handguard, your pistol grip, all of that. But it doesn't have to be a pistol grip because we know out in California now they technically can't have pistol grip, so they got California compliant.
And if you ever
hand
seen those
guards,
things, or
they're-
just
they're
I don't even know
awful.
how you would really hold it
Yeah.
and fire
No.
it. It's real awkward.
And just touch on a couple points before we get blasted in the comments. A, on any mild breaches of safety you may see, every gun in here has been safety checked. We're going to safety check it on camera. We all trust each other. And B, the lower handguard on that's Taiwanese. It's not all East German.
Yeah.
Before someone blasts Reynolds for not knowing what he's talking about.
Okay, I got a question.
What's
So
up?
let's settle it right now.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
Okay. The thing that holds the ammunition
Mhm.
that goes into the gun.
Mhm.
What is that called?
All right, so
Magazine.
it's a magazine. So I think we
Now
actually
wait
have,
a minute now.
Now, well,
I've heard them on the news call that a clip.
All right, so we can actually explain that. If you'll actually hand me that one, we can show you.
Hang on, I can get it where I can though. Explain the difference in a clip and a magazine.
All right, so a clip, back in the day, back in the World War II times, you'll see it's a little metal clip that you actually would put your ammunition into. And there are different varieties. You have some
mine
called
loaded.
stripper clips, where
mine
basically
loaded.
you put it in, you put your bullets in the clip, you'll put the clip in the rifle, and you'll strip the bullets down into the rifle. A magazine is what we're about to have on camera here. It's basically a box or some shape of a box that you will actually load your ammunition into, and then you'll load it into the rifle one way or another. Some are on the top, some are on the side, most are on the bottom, and it holds the ammunition, and you usually get a higher capacity. That said, for all of the quote-unquote purists out there, if you call it a clip, man, leave him alone. It's a clip, it's a magazine.
It's a clip to him.
It's a clip to him, Is his terminology 100% correct? No. But
not.
we're also not grammar aficionados. None of us have an English degree. Excuse you? Sorry if you heard that.
We've got the door open on the shop tonight. That's the reason why y'all hearing traffic.
But
somebody decided to crank up the Harley that ain't been running in 6 years.
but yeah, technically it is a magazine. But to hear someone call it a clip, especially in the gun community, don't harp on them. Now, if the media wants to call it a clip, by all means harp on them because they don't know what they're talking about.
They're
But
always wrong.
is it a double standard? Probably. But while Jordan's getting that unloaded, the AK kind of goes into my point. I wanted to talk about at different price points guns that you can use in more than one facet. So I've kind of come up with 5 facets that a gun can be utilized for, right? So you have hunting is a big one. Self-defense is obviously a really big one. Then you have target shooting or sport shooting, which is going to be, just going out having fun at the range, testing yourself, or even, like your competitions, your high-speed 3-gun type competitions.
And he wins.
This is a magazine. It was full, so he unloaded it for us just to keep everything safe. But yeah, this is a magazine, not a clip. But if you want to call it a banana clip, go for it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is just like you said. The only ones we should really just be reckoning about proper grammar when it comes to these rifles, or to any rifles for that matter, are the media.
The news media.
Because when I tune into a news media, I expect them to fill me with facts.
Yeah.
And not their opinions or, misnomials.
Heat-seeking, grenade bullets. Yeah,
Yeah.
none of that.
It was
But,
a ghost gun and it weighed 50 pounds.
But so you've got your hunting, your self-defense, your sport/target shooting. Then you've got your medium or long-range precision shooting, which is basically going to be, I classified as anywhere from 300 to 1,000 meters or yards, whichever you prefer. Use your metric system if you want. And then lastly, defense against tyranny. I mean, at the end of the day, in America at least, our Constitution was not founded on the right to hunt. It was the right to defend ourselves from tyranny. So that said, I've got a few guns here. If you'll hand me that one up
You
there.
say that
to start
one more
with.
time for the people in the back.
All right, go ahead. Everyone see that? Safety check. So we've got guns at different price points, but I'll repeat myself since Reynolds asked. Our Constitution was founded on defense from tyranny, not hunting.
Yep.
But this gun right here is a gun that all of you will probably be able to recognize. This is a Glock 19. Now, if you're thinking it looks a little funny, it does. We'll get into that. This is our kind of lowest price point. This is going to be kind of your quote-unquote entry price point. There are guns cheaper than this, but this guy I actually got secondhand from a guy that I won't name now, but you guys will meet later. For right around $300. Now that was a family price. Realistically, you're going to be able to get into one $400, $500.
Well, I'll tell you, when I first bought mine, I bought mine brand new from a gun dealer. Mine's a Gen 2? Yeah, mine's a Gen 2 22, which is the 40 cal version of the long version of that.
Yeah.
Or the full size version of that. And I think I paid right at $425 brand new for mine.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, $400, $500 roughly what you're going to be getting into.
That brings up a good point. What he just said. It's something that some people may not know. What's the difference between full size, compact, subcompact?
So there's actually a few good resources out there for that, but basically, a full-size gun, it's interesting because you can have a compact gun that has the same barrel length as a full-size gun, and honestly be the same size, but it's marketed as a compact. So realistically, it comes down to marketing. But the onset, a full-size gun was kind of the first pistols that were brought out into production. Big, clunky, a lot of ammunition used for military sidearm.
Right.
Well, police got a hold of the same pistols, and they're like, I don't want to tote this thing around. So they got to what was called a compact, which was basically a little shorter here, a little shorter on the muzzle end, and essentially you would have a very slightly less capacity, like for instance the full size of this gun, which is a 19 millimeter, a 9x19 pistol. It holds 17 rounds. This one holds 15 rounds. So a little bit less capacity, but it's also a little bit lighter. And then your subcompact is supposed to be even smaller than that. And then you get into things like micro compacts, and we won't have that for this podcast. But basically, at the end of the day, in 2020, marketing. It's all marketing.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with it. You know, not that we don't trust them or anything, but I don't think any of us actually carry micro compacts. The lowest that we've got are the 42, the 43, and then my Kimber, which are all subcompacts.
Well, those are all technically single stack guns, so they could be micro compacts. But I mean, like I said, it all gets kind of blurry.
Yeah.
But back to the initial point. This gun is awesome, in my opinion, for concealed carry. This is one of the most, if not the most, concealed carried guns in America. Fantastic for home defense, definitely. I mean, you can use it all day. There's great ammunition out there to protect yourself against an intruder. And then also this specific gun, there are better ones out there in terms of capacity, blah, 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 but you can buy bigger magazines, higher capacity magazines. This gun right here, set up as it is also good for target shooting and even sport competitions like the 3-gun. Just because it's light, it's accurate, and if you'll look, I don't know if you can see, but if you can see that, the grip is
Don't
got...
worry about it. I'll flash a picture of it.
Okay, we'll get a picture up in post, but it's got a stippled grip, so essentially it helps you grip the gun a little better, keeps it from moving around in your hand, and then it has night sights. It has really good target night sights.
Would you
Now
say
let
that
me
was, like,
reiterate.
tritium or?
Yeah, tritium. So they basically glow in the dark.
Let me reiterate here, because I don't really necessarily remember you saying it. These are not standard features of the gun.
They're not.
Yeah. These are additions that have been done later.
This is not factory.
Yeah, this is not factory. But if you were to
Accessories.
go buy this factory, you could do well in any setting. But most people, especially in the competition world, are going to stipple their grip. They're going to get the night sights.
No.
And by the time it's all said and done, with the money I've got in this gun, I personally have right at say $500 in this gun as configured. and it covers 3 of my 5 boxes, right?
Right.
So then we've got our next gun, and we'll go with the big one here.
And I will put this out there just right now. Price point and preference are what you really need to be looking into if you're looking to buy a new gun, because that's what really matters. Don't go, oh, well, they've got a Glock, so I need a Glock. That's where you end up with a gun that you hate.
Yes, go try different guns out, find what you like, reputable names.
Put it in your hand.
Put it in your hand.
You got to put it in your hand.
If
and
you
know
can
whether or not
shoot
you
it,
want
shoot it.
Yeah.
But this is going to be our second price point. I think this has gone up since I bought it, but it represents a really good value when I bought it. This is going to be in your $700 to $800 range.
Safety check.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to do right here. Got to put it in half cock. There we go. And this is a 308 bolt action rifle. This is made by Howa. And
The model is Hogue, is it not?
no, the Hogue is the stock. It's a model 1100 or no,
Okay.
Howa 1500. There we go.
1500. Okay.
This shoots 308. One of the best hunting calibers out there in a bolt action rifle. People love 308. Taking many deer with it.
I've actually shot this one.
Yeah.
And talking about smooth.
The only thing that's been done to this by me is I put just an old school battle wrap on it just to get my cheek a little more comfortable position. But this gun is basically perfect for hunting. Little heavy, but the caliber is going to get the job done out to long range accurately, which is interesting because by doing that, you end up with a gun that is fantastic for medium long range precision and also for defense against tyranny. I mean, this is the gun that many snipers around the world use in their defense of liberty.
That was the point that I was about to make. Maybe not even necessarily the gun, but the cartridge itself, the 308 cartridge, and what is the counterpart to it, the 7.62 by 51 51 NATO. I deal with Russian rounds too, but
Oh boy.
the counterpart to it, the 7.62, they have been used by snipers all over the world for years and years and years. At this point, you know, the Remington 700, one of the most famous sniper rifles of all time, has been in use since the 50s, the 60s.
Yeah, whenever it was created, you can fact check us on it.
Yeah.
Give it a Google, but yeah, just whatever it came out.
Education.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to spoon feed you. But just such a sweet shooting gun. It doesn't kick at all because it's so heavy, and the accuracy is ridiculous because this barrel is so thick. Just not to get into a whole other rant, but the way a barrel moves is important as that cartridge is coming out, and the thick barrel really just dials in that accuracy.
Well, the thick barrel is also really good at dispersing heat,
Yeah,
which is another shot killer.
Yeah, the hotter your barrel gets, the wider your groupings are going to get.
Set it back over here.
Yeah,
Over here.
well, I'll give it to you to put over there. But as I put this up, just a quick little anecdote about this. Howa is actually set up in the factory that once produced Arisaka rifles back in World War II. So it kind of has a pedigree, kind of like the AK as being a military sort of
Yeah, well, I mean,
setup.
they were originally set up for military. So your last rifle?
Last rifle. This one is going to tick every box in the category, and it is going to be the American counterpart to our Russian rifle.
It's not Russian.
There's our safety check. Go ahead and lock that bolt open for me, Reynolds. This is going to be your AR-15. And yeah, I'll help me hold it. These are so far and wide and in so many price points that it'll make your head spin. This specific model is going to be right in that $1,000 price point, and for everyone at this table, that's pretty expensive. These guys go all the way up to $5,000. I'll just throw it out there. You can get as crazy as you want to with an AR.
Oh, Lord.
No,
no.
wait. The TV told me that this weighed 50 pounds. This is definitely.
No, this was actually another custom build by me. Just about everything in here has been built or messed with by me. This Joker weighs right at 6 pounds. I wanted it lightweight because I carry it around through the woods all the time. And on that note, this actually ticks every box on the list. So this is good for fun, for target shooting. This is good for hunting. I wouldn't necessarily take deer with it. You can. It's in 5.56 by 45/223. Again, I won't go into that. Google the difference. But the round is more than capable for coyotes, predator hunting, hogs.
We've hunted many a coyote with these particular
Many a
rifles
coyote.
because, with the exception of RD, all of us have one, and that's always been our go-to for any nuisance hunting.
And we give him guff, but I do love both rifles. I have
Oh, I
it
do.
myself, and it actually fits The AK fits in the exact same category as the AR. It also ticks every box, just in a slightly different way. So its caliber is going to be better for hunting like deer, but the 5.56, despite being smaller, is actually going to be better for reaching out a little farther. Now, are you going to be taking people out in the kneecap at 1,000 meters with this? No, but you can hit shots on target out to about 1,000 meters with this if you're trying. So this gets into your medium long range precision. Absolutely. I mean, this gun will do 600 all day.
Okay, I'm going. You know me. I'm asking the obviously stupid questions.
Okay.
Is this the AR, the 308? Are they machine guns?
These are not machine guns. Not even remotely close to machine guns.
Are you sure they're not a machine gun?
I'm 100%. Every time you pull the trigger on any gun in here, it's going to fire one bullet.
So what's that mean?
That means that it is a rifle.
Well, it actually
Semi-auto.
Semi-auto. That's
Yeah.
what I was looking for.
the AR and the AK both are in a classification now that has been created for this new resurgence in owning these types of rifles. It is the modern sporting rifle.
Yeah.
And they are all semi-automatic.
Wait a minute. I thought the news called them assault rifles.
So-
That's a made-up term.
Well, so interestingly enough, assault weapon, that is a made-up term. Assault rifle is a real term. They're fully automatic cousins, the M4 and the true AKMs that can be fully automatically fired. Those are assault rifles, and basically that means a small caliber, usually smaller than a 308, that is used in a active defense scenario, like a war scenario. And then you have a battle rifle, which is going to be your 308s that also can be used semi or fully automatic. But these guns are strictly semi-automatic, and therefore they do not fit the classification of assault rifle.
And shooting automatic weapons, you don't want it on.
You don't want it. In fact, just about every service member worth his marksmanship badge will tell you that they never use the fully automatic feature of their rifle.
Unless we're having fun,
Yeah, unless you're having fun.
which is never.
But that guy and the AK both, they tick every box, man. You can protect your home with it. If you have to, you can hunt with it. Definitely in the defense of liberty against tyranny. I mean, they're the two most used rifles in a military setting in the world, and they're both absolutely able to. They're both absolutely able to reach out to 500-600 meters.
Well, I mean, just saying that, just to talk about the AK again, just a little bit. Like I said, I've been AR to the core for a long time, but just the actual history of the AK, talking about the defense from tyranny, the AK has probably been used in more revolutions, retaliations, and just protests than any other rifle.
Yeah.
The Stoner M16 up to the M4, they've not been around that long. The AK, on the other hand, like he said, was originally built in 47. Resurgence to the AKM, what year?
50s.
Yeah, it was
Early
it was
50s.
early 50s.
So it's been around for longer than any of us.
Yeah, they've both been around a long time, and the AK was actually a secret. The reason that they kind of get compared so much is we didn't know in the majority of the world that the AK existed until Vietnam.
Yep.
They kept it hidden. I mean, we're talking you would have to keep it in a case to and from the range. You had to collect every brass. Like, it was ridiculous. But they're basically cousins in protecting freedom, or in some cases infringing on freedom if a bad guy gets a hold of it, because it's a tool, right? I mean, a bad guy could grab a hammer and do plenty of damage.
Oh, yeah. Well,
But that's several different price points, and the AK, just to touch on that real quick, is roughly in the same price point as the Howa over there. So I mean, you've got 3 really good price points to kind of touch all those boxes.
And also with the AK, actually spoken to a guy, and if you want to know a lot more about the AK variants and AK rifle itself, check out his YouTube. His name's Robski. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know who he is, so we're going to put his link in the description.
His actual YouTube is AK Operators Union Local 47-74. It's a long name. There's history in the name. It's all on his channel. He's
But
such
we'll
a
have
good dude.
it in the
Really cool
description
guy.
if you want to check it out. Please do.
Yeah.
Please go over and check it out. I mean, there's a lot of information that he gives you.
Yeah, on the AK alone, he knows more than everyone at this table combined.
Well, I mean,
He uploads videos daily.
I mean, just to touch there, this whole continuing education that we were talking about earlier, find something you're interested in.
Yeah.
If you're interested in the AKM or the AK-47 or the AK-74, which we don't even have a variant of to show you,
Yet.
Yeah.
What about
go check out the AK Operators Union because they're going to inform you on these things.
Yep.
They're going to tell you about these topics.
And talking about learning and just continuing education, just to wind down here and get away from guns, don't you have something for us to teach us today?
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'm not teaching anyone anything. I'm just talking about the fact that, I touched on bushcraft last week, and I touched on a lot of skills as far as water purification and building fires. But what do you do with a fire once you have a fire? Well, you're going to cook on it. You're going to stay by it, stay warm. So just, we're all campers here. We all love to camp. We all love to hike. Backpacking trips, ruck trips, all of it.
Out in the woods, middle of the night.
I don't know if Reynolds has got his fill of it yet.
What, force hikes? Absolutely.
But just talking about cooking on an open flame, talking about cooking on a campfire, I've got a few little recipes here, but...
You mean you don't need an oven?
Oh, you don't need an oven. If anyone has ever used a grill, they know they don't need an oven.
Wow. A microwave.
I know you live in a camper. We have technology.
Well, this is actually backwards technology.
This is backwards technology. But, just, if you haven't figured it out yet, Pops is actually my biological dad. So, a lot of times we used to gather around the campfire out back because we had them constantly.
Never would have guessed, by the way.
Yeah. I tell it all. But, we had them constantly and we would cook on them. And that's where I learned a lot of the different kind of campfire cooking skills. Just starting with breakfast here. I've got a simple, take some tinfoil, potatoes, peppers, onions, and either bacon, sausage, or ham.
Or none if you're a
or
vegan.
all three. I don't promote that.
If you only eat vegetables, you don't have to include meat.
I guess you don't have to.
I'm going to, but
Yes.
you don't have to.
Now, the idea of breakfast is it's something you can drop into the coals from the fire from the night before you light another fire and walk away from it and do what you've got to do that morning and then come to it in about 45 minutes.
And here's the thing, you're talking about that, and we've all, anybody that's hiked, anybody that's camped, especially if you've done any long hiking, there's a certain type of hiking, it's ultralight hiking, and it's minimalist hiking. And one of the things that you'll do a lot of times is you'll go to the local sporting goods or camping place and buy the the prepackaged the I don't want to call them MREs.
It's basically a
Well,
MRE.
what they actually call them are camp meals.
Yeah.
Camp meals, and you'll buy those because all you have to do is open the pouch, boil water, pour water in pouch, shake it all up, and you eat it. Mm-hmm. Well, that's wonderful. That's fast. That's quick. That's light. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem with that. That sucks.
Yeah, it tastes.
That is not good food.
It's also like $20 US.
It's expensive.
Now, wait a second. A certain organization told me that was perfectly good to eat for a whole month.
Nutritionally, it's probably
Nutritionally, it probably is.
You could eat a loaf of bread only for a whole month. You're not going to be happy.
But this is what we're doing. What George's doing here is he's giving you recipes of alternatives.
Yeah.
That are not that as far as the food goes, it's not that much more heavier or encumbersome to do it, and you get a fresh meal.
Yeah, you get a definite there. Wow, you definitely get a more fresh meal than you would out of a bag. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going to notice, I'm not giving cups. I'm not giving tablespoons. Guess what? I'm going under the assumption that everyone here has at least cooked one meal in their life, and you know what you like to eat. And I may like more peppers than you. You may like more onions than I do. Mm-hmm. Any kind of seasoning you want to bring with you, toss it on there. Of course, I don't really do seasoning when I'm doing the tinfoil because the bacon, sausage, or ham, or all three if you're me, because I really like meat.
Yeah, big meat guys here.
Yeah, they have their own flavors that will mix into these vegetables and taste amazing. And like I said, wrap it up in that tinfoil, throw it on the still hot coals, walk away. Come back in 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
You've got a fresh hot meal.
Yeah.
Then just moving on to lunch. Lunch is easy. Bring you a few slices of bread.
Bologna sandwich.
We're actually very close to that. Ham, turkey, any kind of sandwich meat you like. A little bit of, if you can spare the space, just a little bit of butter.
Cold cuts.
And a cast iron skillet. Now this is when you've lit your second fire. You're getting ready to wind down for a few minutes. You've worked half the day, or you've hiked half the day, or you've done whatever half the day. Set the cast iron on top of the fire. Let it warm up. Let it get hot. Start building your sandwich, and then toss the butter in. Throw the sandwich inside the cast iron. Let it sizzle for 2 minutes max.
Well, it's to your taste.
Yeah,
Some people like it more crunchy. Some people like it more soggy.
And here's the thing. With that also. A lot of it has to do with how hot your fire is. Mm-hmm. I don't cook over a bonfire. I keep my fires very minimal. Honestly, if I can, I prefer to build something along the lines of like a Dakota fire pit,
right,
or something like that.
You mean to tell me you can't set your fire to 350 degrees?
No, there's no thermometer on these.
Wow, shocking!
My whole universe is shattered. Right?
But pull it out, and again, get a fresh hot meal. Now for supper, this is why we brought the cast iron. The sandwich was an afterthought. This is where you're really going to enjoy the night.
Right.
Put a little water in there. Hopefully you've brought some beef or some other meat. Maybe you left some meat over from breakfast with your sausage or your bacon or something. I would prefer beef because I'm trying to make a beef stew here. Carrots, potatoes from breakfast, peppers, onions, any kind of vegetable that you actually enjoy. Mm-hmm. Seasonings, salt, pepper. Big salt guy.
So
really love salt.
You definitely know that after this is done, I'm going to have to go eat some of this, right?
Oh yeah,
I'm starving over here.
Well, and that's a good note too about the breakfast. Save some of your potatoes that you actually cooked because they will throw some crazy flavor into that stew.
Oh yeah, and just toss it all over in the cast iron. Let it cook for, again, 35, 40 minutes. Let everything get good and hot. Make sure your meat is cooked. Period. That is the one thing that's going to get you faster than anything else. Is undercooked meat. Now, if it is
medium
beef,
rare,
that's what I was about to say. If it is beef, everyone knows you can eat medium rare beef. Mm-hmm. Don't undercook chicken. That's why I didn't have any chicken on this list. Chicken is difficult over a campfire because you've got to make sure it's done through and through. Mm-hmm. You are going to get the salmonella. Don't undercook pork. The bacon, the sausage, the ham, it's all easy to cook because it's sliced and it's small. Mm-hmm. But if you was to just, pig in the ground, you've got...
Oh, yeah, you got to let that thing cook for a good 12,
13, 14 hours.
Which now, if you're bringing like smoked ham from the deli, you can just eat that raw.
Oh yeah, but that's a totally different story.
Yeah,
we're actually talking about sitting down and cooking on the campfire, and there's 1,000 other. And here's another way for you to learn. Mm-hmm. Go online. There's 1,000 recipes out there for campfire meals.
You get on there and start looking for campfire meals. You'll be on there for 3 days straight.
And you'll see some big ones because if you haven't ever been camping, and the people that have been camping, go ahead and comment to confirm. You're gonna get hungry.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna get real.
We're gonna have to go on a camp out and do a podcast on the campsite.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we already got the spot for it.
Yeah, we're definitely coming.
Y'all will love that.
Yeah, we'll do an around the fire camp.
Yeah, there you go. Podcast by the fire.
Yeah, and it'll probably be at supper time when we're eating the best meal of the day. Mm-hmm. But I think that anyone who really enjoys food would enjoy any of this and would enjoy any of the recipes you can find online. But I think we're getting about to that time.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned food. The young lady I actually mentioned earlier, Mrs. McCrae. For all my Arkansas viewers, and if you're actually planning a trip to Arkansas, her and her husband.
More likely through Arkansas.
If you just happen to accidentally end up in Arkansas, just didn't have nowhere else to go.
We joke because
we're not that bad.
We joke because we love each other. If we were not joking with you, you know that something's wrong.
Go Hogs. But
go home, Hogs. Don't you?
Yeah, go back to Arkansas.
Win a game, please.
Finish, sir. Finish.
Yeah,
her and her husband have a awesome bar in Little Rock called Brewski's Pub in Grub, and it's located on 4th and Main in Little Rock. And if anybody knows that, you got North Little Rock, and then you got Little Rock, and there's a river that divides the two. Stay on the Little Rock side. They have a dance floor in the basement of the bar, and they're actually one of the most popular sports bars in Little Rock. So I highly recommend checking them out. And if you go outside of Little Rock, there's a nice little town called Conway, Arkansas, and most people are familiar with Conway. They have a big university there.
Conway City?
Yeah. Well, that's where he got his name. But there's a big campus there called University of Central Arkansas. They're a big D1 school, and right beside that campus, they have another bar there called the Bears Den. And what's cool about the Bears Den, Gordon Ramsay himself actually made a menu. They were actually Gordon Ramsay actually visited this place and visited the McRae's and created a whole menu for them. It's a very laid-back vibe, of course, because it's like a college type environment. I highly recommend visiting there if you're going through Arkansas or if you decide to stay, because we're awesome. Check out either one of these two bars. I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
I guess we're going to plan a trip to Arkansas. At some
Actually,
point.
I'm going in June, and I will be going to Brewski's in June.
Nice. That said, winding down for our outreach, if you have any favorite guns at any price point, comment down below the price point, the name of the gun, and what boxes it covers in our 5 categories. And also recipes. If you have any of your favorite recipes, not even camp recipes, but just recipes in general, throw them down there.
We all the time looking for food.
Yeah, I promise if you can cook it in an oven, you can cook it on a fire.
And then that means if you go to your grandma's house and grab her a cookbook, I mean, hey, whatever works. Just
whatever
comment on there.
works.
But it's been good seeing everyone again, or been good having everyone again.
Yeah.
We enjoy all this. We've definitely enjoyed these past 2 weeks. Even the work that comes with this, we've really had a good time. And we thank you for all your support again. So I think I'm gonna turn it over to Pops. Let him send us home.
All right. Everybody done?
Yeah, we're good.
Remember, in our description, we're going to have links, and remember, we joke with RD about Arkansas. There ain't nothing wrong with Arkansas, a beautiful place, and I've been through it several times. If you're out that way, get out and see and visit these restaurants and things, and spend some time and some money there. I mean, that's the main thing. So do that and to help support community.
We have more to offer than a losing season, I promise.
Oh, also, real quick, we do have an Instagram now. Nothing is on it yet. We'll be starting to post pretty much as soon as this is over. That's going to be the Men's Club 2020, all one word. And we also have a Facebook. It's not set up as a group yet. We'll be getting that soon. And then a Twitter as well.
Okay, so we'll be dropping them in the comments.
Yeah,
too,
they'll be
so
down in the
get
links.
this.
Sweet.
So once again, it's been a wonderful, wonderful time to spend this time with you. I know this was a little bit longer than last week. That just means we got more to talk about. So we enjoyed having you with us, and we hope to see you back next week. And for episode number 3, I'm Pops.
I'm RD. Go Hogs.
I'm TJ. Hope you guys do well.
I'm Jordan. Roll Tide.
With that, it comes the end of our 2nd episode of the Men's Club. Cha-ching pow.